3 months ago, the stars had looked peaceful when Captain Jackstone stared out the window of his ship. Now they looked different, like the eyes of hunting wolves. "Captain, we're getting another distress signal," said Officer Tim Ross, his voice weary. They had been on the run for 2 weeks, jumping from star system to star system, always one step ahead of death. Jack turned away from the stars. "Which colony this time?" "New Boston. They're asking for help." Tim's hands trembled as he read the message. "The aliens hit them with plasma bombs. Half the city is gone." Jack closed his eyes. New Boston had 2 million people. Had. The bridge fell silent save for the steady hum of the Defiance's engines. It was a good ship, one of Earth's finest destroyers, but it felt impossibly small when being hunted by 10,000 alien warships. "Sir," called Navigator Beth Miller. "We're receiving a priority message from Fleet Command." "Put it through." Admiral Lisa Park's face appeared on the main screen. She looked like she hadn't slept in days, dark circles under her eyes. Her gray hair messy, uniform wrinkled. Behind her, Earth's military headquarters was in chaos, alarms blaring, screens flashing red, people rushing past. "Jack," she said, "I need you to listen carefully. We're pulling all remaining ships back to the Sol system. Admiral, if we retreat now, the colonies are lost," she said flatly. "We've lost Mars Base, the Jupiter mining stations. Titan Research Center went dark 6 hours ago." She paused. "We have maybe 400 ships left. They have over 9,000. Jack felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. "What are your orders, ma'am?" "Come home, Captain. We have one last card to play." The signal cut out. The bridge fell silent once more. 3 days earlier, the war had started with a lie. The Galactic Council had sent a message to Earth with great ceremony. Ambassador Crix of the Vorthon Empire, a tall reptilian creature with silver scales and yellow eyes, spoke before the United Nations. "The human species has violated the sacred boundaries of space," Crix declared smoothly. "Your ships have entered forbidden zones. Your colonies have taken worlds that belong to others. The Council has voted. War is declared." It was a lie, and everyone knew it. Humanity had never crossed any sacred boundary. Their colonies were on lifeless planets far from alien borders. But truth didn't matter. The Vorthons had made their decision years ago, in secret. Humans were too dangerous, they believed, too curious, too quick to learn and adapt. Better to destroy them now, while they were still weak. General Vex, the Vorthon military commander, had studied human warfare for a decade. He knew about their nuclear weapons, kinetic guns, and missile systems. Primitive, he thought. Easy to defeat. The math was simple. 10,000 Vorthon ships versus 500 human ships. Not a war. An extermination. The first battle took place near Proxima Colony. Captain Jackstone had been there, commanding the Defiance as part of Patrol Group 7, 20 human ships against 100 Vorthon vessels. The aliens emerged from hyperspace, like a silver storm. Their ships were terrifyingly beautiful, smooth, curved, gleaming like polished chrome. They moved in perfect formation, plasma cannons glowing blue-white. "All ships, attack pattern Delta," ordered Admiral Hayes from the flagship. A good man. The humans charged. Railguns fired metal slugs at impossible speed. A few Vorthon ships took hits, shields flashing, but their range was superior. Plasma beams lashed out like the fingers of an angry god. The Courage exploded first, cut in half. Then the Hope, her hull melting like wax. The Victory attempted to ram an alien cruiser. She never made contact. Vaporized. In 10 minutes, 19 human ships were gone. Only the Defiance escaped, her engines howling as she jumped to hyperspace. Jackstone had watched friends die. Captain Maria Torres of the Freedom, Commander Bob Kim of the Liberty. all gone in white fire. That was when he understood. This was not war. It was a slaughter. Now, 3 days later, the Defiance navigated through the asteroid belt toward Earth. Around her, the remnants of humanity's fleet limped home, damaged, scorched, their crews hollow-eyed and afraid. "Captain," said Tim Ross, "you should see this." A video played on the screen. General Vex, proud and triumphant, addressed his troops. "The humans believed they could challenge the might of the Vorthon Empire," he sneered. "They thought their crude weapons could match our power. In 1 week, 2 at most, their species will be extinct. The galaxy will be better without them." Alien soldiers laughed. To them, genocide was a sport. Jackstone felt his blood boil. These creatures thought humans were weak, that they'd roll over and die. They were about to find out just how wrong they were. "Sir," Beth Miller called, "we're approaching Earth's outer defense grid." Through the window, Jack saw it. Earth, blue and small, encircled by metal rings of orbital stations and defense platforms, fragile-looking against the black. But Earth had secrets, dark secrets. Weapons so terrible they were locked away. Ships so dangerous their own creators feared them. The Vorthons wanted extermination. They were about to meet something worse. "Set course for fleet headquarters," Jack ordered. "Time to see what Admiral Park's last card looks like." The Defiance flew toward Earth carrying the fury and the hope of a species that refused to die quietly. The real war was about to begin. So humanity did what it always does when backed against a wall. Our scientists asked a simple question. What if we built ships no normal human could operate? What if we created weapons so dangerous that only dying crews would dare fire them? Hologram lit up, showing a black vessel slicing through enemy fleets. The ship was terrifying. Its weapons didn't just destroy. They erased. No debris, no wreckage, just silence. As if the enemy had never existed. "The Reaper ships ended that war in 6 months, Admiral Park said. "But the cost..." She gestured to the photos on the wall. 2,000 volunteers, all dead. "We swore never to use them again." Jack felt his stomach twist. He already knew what was coming. And now we face extinction. She didn't flinch. "The Vorthons have 10,000 ships. We have 400. In a fair fight, we lose." She led him to another chamber. Through reinforced glass, Jack saw weapons being loaded with extreme care, technicians moving like they were defusing bombs. "Void cannon," Park said, pointing to a device that looked like a black crystal wrapped in metal veins. "Fires condensed, dark matter. Doesn't just break through shields. It creates voids in space. Wherever it hits, ceases to exist." "That's impossible," Jack muttered. "So were nukes. So was FTL. We're very good at the impossible." She nodded at another device. "Quantum disruptor. Phases targets out of regular space-time. They die in multiple realities. At once. This is madness." "Yes. But it works." They reached a viewing deck. Below, the engine core of the ship pulsed like a caged sun. Jack had to squint. It hurt to look at. "The Vorthons think they're fighting humans," Park said. "They're not. They're about to fight humanity's nightmares, vessels born in our darkest hour, when we learn survival sometimes means becoming the monster." Jack turned to her, his voice hoarse. "Who's going to crew it?" Park looked him dead in the eyes. "You are." The words hit like a thunderclap. "I'm giving you command of the Harbinger. You and 200 volunteers." Jack's pulse roared in his ears. "Admiral, The Vorthons thought we were weak." Her tone sharpened. "They're about to learn humans are most dangerous when we've got nothing left to lose." She handed him a data pad. "Specs. Study them. In 3 days, you launch." Jack stared at the ship through the glass. His ship now. His death sentence. "What about the others?" he asked. "Being prepped. Doomsday, Apocalypse, Nemesis. All 12 of them." Her voice held steady, but grief glimmered in her eyes. 400 volunteers. None coming back. But they'll take half the Vorthon fleet with them. Jack stood straighter. When do we start? Now. Your crew is assembling. Most are terminal. Cancer, radiation, genetic collapse. They volunteered because they're dying. They want it to mean something. As they walked to the elevator, Jack looked back one last time at the Harbinger. His ship. His impossible, beautiful, terrible ship. The Vorthons thought they were hunting sheep. They were about to meet wolves. The Harbinger thrummed beneath Captain Jack Stone's boots. It didn't hum like a normal ship. It growled, like something alive, desperate to be unleashed. Around him, his dying crew worked calmly. "Reactor core at max," said Chief Engineer Mike Walsh. His hands were already blistered with radiation. "Burns. Antimatter stable, for now," Walsh added. "Weapons online," called Weapons Officer Sarah Chen. Her cancer had given her 6 months. The ship would give her 6 days. Void cannon primed. Outside, the asteroid belt loomed, massive stones drifting between Mars and Jupiter. Somewhere out there, 9,000 Vorthon warships approached. "Contact!" shouted Navigator Beth Miller. Multiple hyperspace signatures. The blackness of space tore open. Ships emerged, 10, 100, thousands, filling the void like a tide of silver death. Perfect formations, gleaming hulls, beautiful, terrible. Sharks made of starlight. "Jack, activated comms. All Reaper ships, report status." "Doomsday ready?" came Captain Maria Rodriguez's voice. "My crew's eager." "Apocalypse standing by," said Captain Tom Blake. "Reactors hot. Time to make them bleed." One by one, the rest checked in, 12 ships against 9,000. The numbers didn't matter anymore. On the main screen, General Vex appeared. The Vorthon commander's yellow eyes gleamed with cruel confidence. "Humans," he said smoothly, "you fought well. For primitives, surrender. We'll make your deaths painless." Jack rose from his chair. Around him, lights blinked red. Systems screaming. The air tasted like ozone and death. "I have a message for you, General," Jack said. "Oh? What is it, human?" Jack smiled. "It wasn't nice. Go to hell." He cut the feed. "Sarah, target their flagship. Full void cannon. Now. That'll drain life support for 10 minutes. Then we'd better make it count." The ship groaned as power redirected. Lights dimmed. Vents hissed. The void cannon began to glow, a black radiance that burned to look at. "Firing," Sarah said. The weapon did not blaze like a laser. It carved space itself, liquid darkness, absolute and silent. The Vorthon flagship vanished. No explosion. Just gone. In its place, a growing sphere of nothing. The alien fleet froze. Jack imagined their shock, their terror. "Doomsday, you're up." Captain Rodriguez moved in. Her quantum disruptors lit up, beams of twisted energy bending around asteroids like serpents. Where they struck, Vorthon ships flickered, existing then not. Crews screamed as they were shredded by physics breaking in every direction. Some tried to run, others to fight. None succeeded. Apocalypse, Nemesis, Attack Pattern Gamma. The 2 ships plunged into the heart of the alien fleet. The Apocalypse unleashed a reality shredder, ripping space itself. Enemy vessels caught nearby were pulled into impossible fractures. The Nemesis, under Captain Anna Park, phased in and out of space. Enemy shots passed through her, but her return fire was mercilessly real. The battle wasn't war. It was a nightmare. The Reapers danced like demons. Their weapons warped the cosmos itself. "Sir!" Beth shouted. "They're retreating!" Jack watched alien formations break. Hyperspace engines lighting. A retreat. "No," he said coldly. "They started this. We finish it." All ships. Pursue. No survivors. The 12 Reapers spread like a net. Each escape route had a hunter. Waiting. The Harbinger erased squadrons with pinpoint void cannon fire. Doomsday hunted cruisers to Jupiter, her beams flickering like lightning across multiple realities. The fight lasted 4 hours. When it ended, space was littered with the impossible, voids where physics collapsed, cracks in reality, spheres that consumed light. Of 9,000 Vorthon vessels, fewer than 300 escaped. Jack slumped back in his chair. "Casualty report," he said. Dr. James Foster looked near collapse. 40% dead. Another 30 by tomorrow. The rest, days. Maybe. Jack nodded. Expected. "Sir," Tim Ross called out. "Incoming transmission from the survivors." General Vex's face returned. But he looked different now. Hollow. Ashen. "What are you?" he whispered. "What have you done?" Jack rose. His vision blurred. His body failed. But his voice was steel. "We're human," he said. "And we just showed you why you never try to wipe us out." The screen went dark. Through the viewport, Jack watched the last Vorthon ships jump to hyperspace, running from humans, from nightmares, from the Harbinger. Their lives were over. The war was over. Humanity had won. Now all they had to do was die. Captain Jack Stone could no longer feel his hands. The radiation from the Harbinger's reactor had burned through his nervous system, leaving his fingers numb and useless. But he kept giving orders because his crew needed him to stay strong until the end. "Status report," he said, his voice hoarse from breathing air that tasted like metal and death. "Hull breach on Deck 7, reported Chief Engineer Mike Walsh. Half his face was covered in radiation burns, and his left eye had gone white and blind. "The antimatter containment is failing. We have maybe 6 hours before the reactor goes critical." 6 hours. Jack nodded slowly. It was more time than most of his crew would live to see. Through the bridge windows, he could see the other Reaper ships spread across the asteroid belt. The Doomsday was drifting without power, her hull cracked open like an egg. The Apocalypse was still moving, but slowly, leaving a trail of glowing gas from her damaged engines. The Nemesis was the worst. Captain Anna Park's ship was only half visible, stuck between normal space and somewhere else. Her crew had pushed their reality-bending weapons too far, and now they were paying the price. Sometimes Jack could see the ship clearly. Sometimes it looked like a ghost made of starlight. "Sir," Communications Officer Tim Ross called out. His hair had all fallen out 3 days ago, and his skin looked like old paper. "Captain Rodriguez is trying to reach us." "Put her through." Captain Maria Rodriguez appeared on the main screen. She was sitting in what looked like the Doomsday's medical bay. Machines beeped around her, keeping her alive. Her face was pale, and Jack could see the dark lines under her skin where the radiation had burned her blood vessels. "Jack," she said with a weak smile, "how are you holding up?" "Better than you look," Jack replied. "What's your situation?" 17 crew members left alive, ships dead in space. But we did it, didn't we? We stopped them. Jack felt a strange peace settle over him. "Any regrets?" Maria thought for a moment. "Just one. I wish I could see Earth again. See the sunrise over the mountains." We all do." Jack paused as a coughing fit took him. When he could speak again, he asked, "Maria, how long do your doctors give you?" "Few hours, maybe less," she shrugged. "What about your crew?" "Same," she said quietly. "The medical officer says the radiation has cooked our DNA. Even if we could get to a hospital, there's nothing they could do." They sat in silence for a moment. 2 dying captains who had done the impossible. "You know what's funny?" Maria said suddenly. "The Vorons thought we were weak. They thought humans would just give up and die quietly. They learned different. They learned that humans are most dangerous when they have nothing left to lose." Maria's image flickered as her ship's power failed. "Jack, if you get the chance, tell them back on Earth that we died well." "I will." The transmission ended. Jack stared at the empty screen for a long time. "Sir," Weapons Officer Sarah Chen called out. She was lying on a stretcher now, too weak to sit at her station. "We're getting scanner readings. Something big is coming." Jack turned to look at the tactical display. His vision was blurry, but he could make out the shapes moving through space. 30 ships heading toward the outer edge of the solar system. "The surviving Vorthans," he said. "They're running for home," said Navigator Beth Miller, one of the few crew members still at her post, though her hands were shaking from radiation sickness. Jack thought about it. The Harbinger could probably catch them. One last shot from the Void cannon would erase another 50 enemy ships. But his crew was dying, and the ship was falling apart. Then he remembered something Admiral Park had told him. "We're not just fighting a war," she had said. "We're sending a message." "No," Jack said finally. "Let them go. They need to tell the galaxy what happened here." On the tactical screen, he watched the Voran ships jump to hyperspace, running home to spread the word about humanity's terrible weapons. "Sir," Tim Ross said from his communication station, "I'm picking up transmissions from the fleeing ships. Want to hear what they're saying?" "Put it through." The bridge speakers crackled with alien voices speaking in the Vorthon language. The ship's computer translated their words into English. "Not possible. What we saw is not possible. They built weapons that tear holes in reality itself. Lost 8,000 ships to 12 human vessels. Demons. They're not just humans. They're demons." Jack smiled grimly. "Good. Let them be afraid. Let them spread fear across the galaxy." "Another transmission coming in," Tim reported. "This one's from their fleet commander." General Vex's voice filled the bridge. The proud Vorthon warrior sounded broken, terrified. "Command, this is General Vex. The human fleet. They had ships we could not fight, weapons that should not exist. They killed 8,000 of our best warriors with 12 vessels. 12. I recommend immediate withdrawal from all human territories. These creatures are not what we thought they were." The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, Jack heard his crew breathing. Slowly. Painfully. They were all dying. But they had won something more than a battle. They had won respect, fear, safety for the human race. "Captain," Dr. Foster called out from the medical station. "I need to show you something." Jack walked slowly to the medical bay. His legs barely held him up, but he made it inside. He found something that made his heart break. Tommy Garcia, the Harbinger's youngest crew member, was lying on a medical bed. He was only 19 years old, fresh out of the academy. He had volunteered for the Reaper mission because his sister had been killed in the first Vorthon attack. The boy was dying. His skin was gray, his breathing shallow, but he was smiling. "Captain," Tommy whispered. "Did we win?" Jack knelt beside the bed. "Yes, son. We won." "Good." Tommy's eyes were bright with fever. "My sister, she would be proud. She would be very proud." Tommy closed his eyes and stopped breathing. Dr. Foster checked his pulse, then shook his head. Jack stood slowly. Around the medical bay, other crew members were dying. Good people, brave people, people who had given their lives to save humanity. "Captain," Chief Engineer Walsh called out over the intercom, "the reactor's going critical. We have 30 minutes, maybe less." 30 minutes. Jack walked back to the bridge and sat in his command chair. Through the windows, he could see Earth in the distance, a blue dot against the stars. "All hands," he announced over the ship's communication system. "This is your captain. In a few minutes, the Harbinger will die, and we will die with her. But we did not die for nothing. We saved our world. We saved our species. And we taught the galaxy that humans are not prey." He paused, looking around the bridge at his dying crew. They were all looking at him, waiting for his final words. "It has been an honor to serve with all of you," Jack said. "When they write the history of this war, they will remember that 12 ships and 2,000 volunteers stood against impossible odds. They will remember that we chose to become monsters so that humanity could remain human. The ship shuddered as the reactor core began to collapse. Through the speakers, Jack could hear similar announcements from the other Reaper ships. Captain Blake on the Apocalypse, Captain Davis on the Ragnarok, all of them saying goodbye. Reactor. Core breach in 10 seconds, Walsh reported calmly. Jack closed his eyes and thought about Earth, about children playing in parks, about families eating dinner together, about all the people who would live because he and his crew had chosen to die. 5 seconds, Walsh said. It was worth it, Jack whispered. The Harbinger became a new star in the asteroid belt, burning, bright and beautiful for just a moment. Then darkness, then silence. But across the galaxy, the story of humanity's terrible ships would spread, and no alien race would ever again think that humans were easy prey.